Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're gonna be talking about how to develop psychic powers. First things first, the root of psychic powers is awareness. Another really good word for psychic powers is wisdom. Psychic powers is a combination of multiple different skills within that one word. And you have to become really, really aware to develop those psychic powers. Now, in this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about psychic powers in a very practical, real world scenario. So most of the time when we talk about psychic powers, we think of like, the fantasy version that we see on movies and we see on TV. And while I do think that, some of those things might be possible, right now I'm just going to be teaching like really, really, really basic concepts of how to develop psychic powers. So as I mentioned before, awareness is key, wisdom is key. By understanding yourself to a very high degree, you can understand everybody else around you. And that's because we all go through the world pretty much the same way. We live in the same body. We have these thought processes. We have these different types of emotional states. So by understanding all these different types of conditions, factors, even by just understanding yourself, you can understand why certain other people make those kind of decisions. And psychic is much more than just that too. Psychic is also about becoming in tune with other people's emotions. But when it comes to developing psychic powers, there is a lot of skills involved with this. You can get really, really advanced with this sort of thing. I mean, it's a great skill to have. It really is a great skill to have when you can understand what people are saying and then know how to respond to it. And it can be a little creepy too because it's like sometimes you can literally put words in people's mouth. Like you can see it coming and then they tell you exactly that thing that you just thought about. So what are some ways that we can improve our psychic potential, our psychic powers or whatnot? This video is more about teaching you some practical tips and strategies. But once again, wisdom and awareness are really, really the heart and soul of psychic. To understand others, you must understand yourself, or you understand thy others. Another way to develop these psychic powers even more is by creative visualization. This is one that cannot be underestimated, and this is something that would require a lot of talking to explain how that works. But creative visualization, for example, let's say you've never seen something before, and you use creative visualization in your mind. Sorry, I got an itch. To practice, well, not to practice, but to see the scenario on perspective. So sometimes you don't even need to experience something. Although a big majority of psychicness is really just seeing all these different types of patterns, all these different types of events and circumstances that lead to these different kinds of effects. So it's sort of like a chain reaction. Okay, A leads to B, and B leads to C, and then C leads to Z. But it all started from A, from that first building block. And you can also see this in the news. The news has a great amount of power in relations to how they influence the mainstream market and influence everyone else around them. So when you are tapped into this sort of stuff, when you're tapped into the world at large and you understand their needs and you understand what they're trying to promote, you can pretty much see everything from an even deeper perspective, a deeper meaning. Everyone is just trying to promote their own agendas and promote their own ideas. Now, for example, if I said, oh, I seen on the news that drinking soda is linked to obesity. Now, what this will do is that it'll create a 10% or 15% reduction in reduction of sales for soda. And you see this all the time, like, okay, so they promote this idea and then some sort of negative consequences happen. So it's like, okay, this 10%, 15% of sales was reduced because the news said a couple things. Now, the thing is, you don't really know if it's true. You don't even know why it's true if it was true. And it's like, it's one of those things that we don't have all the time in the world to fully test out what is true and what's not. Because if we did have all the time in the world to test what's true and what's not, it would just drive us crazy, because in life that we have too many variables, too many things that we have to handle on a daily basis before we even consider like diving into those things, just cause like there's just not enough time to learn everything. Now back to developing psychic powers. First, obviously do meditate, lower your brain waves. It also helps you to improve your ability to be present. It also puts you back into that state of peace. And while in that state of peace, it's very easy to pick up the energy flows of people around you. And this is because when you are in a certain state, anything that's not like your state is coming from an external. And I'm very careful with saying this as well, because that's simply an overly simplification way of saying it. I'm not saying that they're always going to be the ones that are manipulating your states around or whatever. But the point is, certain people have certain properties, and when you're around that person, you get a certain way more. For example, certain people make me more angry. Certain people I can just be cool and be chill with. Certain people you can just have fun with. It's no big deal. And certain people just make you stressed out, depressed, without you even noticing, without you even knowing why. Okay. So we just talking about meditation as a tool to bring down your brain waves. One powerful tool for entering into a deeper state of psychicness is to lower your brain waves to the theta state. While in the theta state, you can access higher truths. And another great way is to reprogramming your mind, giving your mind a different set of instructions. While in that state, the mind is so calm that when you give it instructions and commands, it penetrates the deeper parts of your mind even easier. So when you're in beta, it's very hard to give yourself like advice or self-auto suggestions that are going to help you create change work. So this is about learning the different types of brain waves. Meditating will also help you to reprogram your mind. Meditation will also help you to become more present when you speak to people. It will give you the ability to focus on them more so. And also just people will just notice something different about you, because the vibes that you're sending is just completely different. Sometimes people recommend different kinds of food and supplements. to build up your psychic powers, such as iodine, certain toothpaste, because fluoride is known to block your pineal gland, so you want to avoid taking that sort of toothpaste because that's going to damage your pineal gland. Another very powerful habit for improving your psychic powers is to journal. Become so addicted to journaling. And this is because one, journaling is improving your state of consciousness. And then two, by journaling so much, you can literally pick up on other people's consciousness. And that's because you already wrote all that stuff already. You've been through that stuff already, which will then help you to help them fix it because you know how to get out of it because you've already been through it. So that's one way about it. So really big ones for developing psychic is awareness. It's also about journaling. Journaling is a fantastic way to develop psychic powers. And you can literally journal about anything. You can journal about certain topics. It's all open for interpretation, but journaling is very powerful for developing psychic powers. You can go out for walks. This will kind of give you clues to social vibes, how people are operating in, and kind of like just how everything is operating in on a daily basis. And then as I told you before about the future reading, A calls it B, B calls it C, and then C eventually leads it to Z. So when you pay attention to what's going on in the world, you can see things happening before they even happen. Does that make sense? So, I mean, this one's a little hard to give an example because I don't watch the news very often, but it's also very easy to understand on a conceptual level. These people are promoting certain ideas, and what this does is that it makes people agree or disagree with the idea that they have. Hold on, sorry, I got an itch. And what tends to happen is it changes a lot of people's perception on certain different ideas, which then leads to different sort of potential universes or potential realities. So it's kind of like X causes Y, then Y causes Z. And by you becoming aware of all these things, you can tap into the flow. You can know when to get in and when to get out. Just by noticing the different kinds of the trends. The trends are going to influence people's perceptions, people's ideas. And because of that, it will help you to freaking itch, man. It will help you to make better decisions in the future. And it will pretty much be like you have psychic powers. And you can use this for something like trading.